The air hung heavy in the conference room, thick with anticipation and something else. Fear, resentment, a toxic brew of both, perhaps. 7 figures sat around the polished table, their faces reflecting the fluorescent lights overhead. This was Gateway Domestic Violence Shelter, a non-profit dedicated to helping the survivors with a safe house, but the only thing in danger today were their sanity points. At the head sat Karmen, the executive director. Her smile was tight, eyes scanning the room with a predatory gleam. Karmen prided herself on her ability to sniff out weakness, to exploit it. Today's target, Beretta, the adult advocate. Beretta had presented her resume for a leading housing navigator position. She had the experience needed for the position and looked forward to a promotion, also to get away from the clutches of a hostile environment. This was her chance to grow within the organization and learn new skills at Gateway Domestic Violence Shelter.
But the executive director, Karmen, before she looked at her resume, questioned if she had read the qualifications. Beretta had replied yes, she did. Karmen, with a nervous look in her demeanor, hesitated and said she would interview Beretta and ask the same question she asked all applicants.
When Beretta returned to work from her assigned days off, Michelle called her to the office and told her all the clients had written grievances against her and how unusual that was. Michelle asked Beretta to write a letter to Karmen, explaining what had happened without telling her what all the grievances were about. Michelle stated she would support her in the matter. After Michelle harassed her, she wrote a letter to Karmen explaining that she didn't know what this was all about and she would speak to her regarding the situation. Karmen never approached Beretta about the incident. Beretta learned Michelle and Erna Young had coerced the clients into writing the letters. The one client that refused to write the letter complained to Beretta while exiting the program what had happened. And this was the reason she had to leave.
The client wrote an affidavit about what had happened, and another client who stated she was harassed into writing the letter.
Michelle stated in a report, the client hadn't done anything wrong, but she needed to clear the room, not offering an alternative. Beretta went to the board president and complained about what had happened and how the hostile environment had caused her to suffer emotional distress. After several attempts of expressing how her health had declined, Ms. Donlevy told her she could file for FMLA, and when Beretta pursued it, she came back and stated she would offer her a paid leave of absence that paid 100%, where FMLA only paid 90%. Beretta accepting the paid leave until the investigation was over. Then they met with Beretta and told Beretta she was terminated and offered her a month of severance pay.
Beretta felt betrayed and unvalued. Could not believe the injustice she had experienced. Karmen Carter reasoning was met with pretext. Beretta had posted a quote that read, "The 6 pillars of good character." Karmen stated Erna and Michelle was offended by it.
Vivian came to a staff meeting and lied to the entire staff, stating she didn't use a resource that Michelle was trying to belittle Beretta with by saying we couldn't use that resource anymore. It turned out Vivian had lied and became angry for Beretta exposing the lie.